Hi, I'm John Maxwell. When the top companies in the world are looking for trainers, speakers, and coaches, there's one name that stands above the rest, and that's Maxwell Leadership. Our certified team members have gotten proven results for companies all over the globe, and our reputation, I'm proud to say, is second to none. Some of our members have risen to the top of their profession, including the one you're going to meet today. I proudly introduce you to my friend Bob Fabian Zinka.
Welcome to the Leadership and Success Podcast with your host, Coach BZ, where we help you lead with purpose and succeed with impact. If you're ready to grow into the kind of leader others want to follow, this podcast is for you. If you're determined to elevate your success and leave a lasting legacy, this podcast is for you. As my mentor, Dr. John C. Maxwell reminds us, everything rises and falls on leadership. Our goal is simple: to inspire you, challenge you, and equip you with insights that can transform the trajectory of your leadership journey. Welcome aboard to another episode of the Leadership and Success Podcast with Coach BZ.
Exploration has been a male-dominated field, but an Alabama author is devoting her work to change the norm.
Loxley Browne's new series encourages young women to dream big and chase after jobs that aren't considered the norm. News 19's Nikki Marker joins us in the studio now. Nikki, you spoke with this author. What can you tell us about the series of books?
Lauren, they are all stemming from the idea of inspiring young women to enter job fields where women stereotypically would not end up. For example, fields like rocket science and space exploration. That's why the first book in this series is called Rocket City Love, and it takes place right here in Huntsville. Space travel is constantly evolving, but how do we make sure our next generation of astronauts includes the smart, talented women in our area? An Alabama author, Loxley Browne, answers this question with her new book.
In writing this book, I really wanted to get the message to little girls that you can have the courage to go out there and do anything.
It's called Rocket City Love and takes place right here in Huntsville.
They've just moved to Rocket City. Her mom is a rocket scientist. Her dad works in the FBI. The family's moved here. And this is really the introduction to her life.
It's the first book in the Charm series, where the overarching theme is inspiring younger girls to dream big and consider job fields where being a female is not typically the norm.
For me, it's really about exploring and learning everything that's out there so you can match your strengths to these different possible career paths that you could go down.
In writing this book, she hopes to instill courage in our next generation.
Courage is being just scared out of your mind, but moving forward and making it happen regardless. And that's what it's really going to take for these women to get those seats in the C-suite in the space industry companies.
And her message to little girls out there dreaming of entering the space field?
Go out there and get your hands dirty. Really explore it. Learn everything that you can.
Inspiring every generation to raise the bar for the next. Loxley says Rocket City Love is a part of a series with a new book coming out every 2 months, and the next edition is actually coming out in the next 2 weeks. You can find the link to purchase Rocket City Love on our website, whnt.com.
All right, welcome to another very special edition of the Leadership and Success Podcast. And as is our custom here, we're going to start with what we call our moment of gratitude. Part of the reason why we do this, as you know, is because in the military, it's about 22 service member and veteran commit suicide every single day. And here we believe it's not possible to be suicidal and grateful at the same time. So, you know the drill. Just take a moment, maybe close your eyes if you wish, and really put yourself in your happy place and think about something you are grateful for right this very moment. And for me, like I did earlier today, I am really grateful. America is going to be 250 years this year in July, right? Our Independence was July the 4th, 1774. That's when we signed the Declaration of Independence. And again, America is not a perfect country. God knows we have our own troubles here, but it's definitely the best country I know, right? The home of the brave and the land of the free. There is just nothing like it. We are not perfect, but we always strive to aspire to be what we were called to be, a country where everybody is one under the law, at the same legal standing. Doesn't matter if you are a white male or a black woman or wherever you come from, we are one nation under God. And that's really beautiful to see. I don't know of any other country like it. Anyway, so let us know in the comment what you are grateful for today. Let us also know where you are joining us from. I believe I invited all of my friends from the East Coast in Georgia and Alabama to join us live today. But anyway, if you have a question for our guest, please type it in the comment and we will be answering your questions live. So let me see if I can properly introduce our guest today. I am really honored to be speaking to Loxley Browne. She's an author, an entrepreneur, a photographer, a STEM advocate, a podcast host, and founder of books that build skills powered by Athenian, an award-winning STEM edu-tainment nonprofit empowering young people through literacy, leadership, life skills, and career exploration. Wow, is there anything she doesn't do? Well, as the creator of the inspiring Addie's Amazing Adventure Charms book series, Loxley is helping young readers, especially girls, discover confidence, curiosity, creativity, and leadership through storytelling and real world learning experiences. Now, as an information warfare commander, I must tell you, to me, this is really a national security issue. I have two girls myself, and I used to joke, no, if I didn't have a male dog, I'd be the only male in my entire family. But it is true that we really need American kids to be interested in science, in technology, engineering, and math. No, nothing wrong with art and history and all of that, but we definitely need more scientific knowledge in the next generation of Americans. So, from motorsports and design to entrepreneurship, photography, and STEM education, Loxley Journey is a masterclass in courageous reinvention, servant leadership, and building opportunities for future generation. Part of what you're going to be learning during this podcast is how storytelling can shape leadership and confidence, but also how leaders can empower the next generation to dream boldly and lead courageously. We'll also discuss a powerful Champs book series, Rocket City Love, TikTok, Tech Charge, Where Clues Take Root, Blueprint and Buried Truth, Calculated Risk, The Gravity of Choice, and Legacy Protocol. So, without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the Leadership and Success Podcast, the one and only Loxley Browne. Good
Hello,
morning, Loxley.
everybody.
All the way from the East Coast. How are you doing today?
Oh, it is fabulous here. We've finally got a little bit of sunshine. There were some big thunderstorms rolling through Alabama. So the sun is out. I'm ready to talk about the Charms book series and getting little girls excited.
Yes.
Excited about reading. And you are correct. That is a national security issue that we need to be really focusing on as the adults in the room. It
True.
is amazing to me how many kids don't love reading anymore. I was a complete bookworm as a kid, so
Yeah, it's definitely something we need to get the next generation more excited about for sure. I know when I
yeah.
first joined the Navy, I used to volunteer with the Office of Naval Research. We'd go to all of this science fair and give them award and judge on what they did. But yeah, very few American, a lot of Asian, but very few American kids there. But hopefully, no, you are doing the right thing, and we are going to change that. I guess to get started, Luxley, what are you grateful for today?
Say that again.
What are you grateful for today?
What am I grateful for? I was thinking about a whole long list of things as you said that. Primarily for people like you who take brand new authors like me and give us a stage to be able to share with parents what we're trying to do. That to me is so important to be able to share among, you know, a common thread, a common theme with everyone to
Yes.
help stimulate everyone's minds and get them thinking and being creative again. So, yeah.
Wow, I am so honored and privileged to be talking to you today. And is there anything you do not do? It's like you into photography, stamps, business, even I think car racing too. When I did the research for this, yeah, you are just like bad to the bone, like they say. It's pretty amazing. Wow.
Give me anything I can drive it. When I was a kid, I was driving bulldozers. Um, give me
Man,
any that's me changing the transmission on my F-150.
that's
Um,
crazy.
I
Wow.
love getting my hands dirty. Like, I've been spending so much time behind a computer lately. I looked at one of
Yes.
my friends, I was like, "I need to get back in the shop. I need to,
That's
I need to
amazing.
be changing out the fluid in my diff. Like, there's all this stuff I gotta do. Like, I can't wait to get my hands dirty again." And that is the
Wow.
motto that I try to pass on to everyone is how
Yes.
important it is to get your hands dirty and just learn how to do
Mm,
everything. That's why I've been able to reinvent my career so many times because I
yes.
get in there and I figure out how to do it before I
Wow.
ever ask anyone who works with me to go do it. I've already done it. So
That is just amazing. So, for the people meeting you for the first time, who is Loxley Browne beyond your resume and accomplishments?
I am still a kid at heart who just looks at the world with big-eyed wonder, and I just wanna go explore all of it. Like,
Mm,
that honestly should be my title is explorer because I look at everything and just wanna go explore and figure out how to do it, why it was created, look at the history of it, figure out how to
mm.
make it better for the future. Like,
Wow,
I'm that brain that just wants to take it apart. That's the designer in
that's
me, that
amazing.
mindset that I have. I'm like, let's go figure this out.
Well, you are not just a designer, but entrepreneur, photographer, nonprofit founder, STEM advocate, author, podcast host. I'm already tired. So, looking back at everything you've accomplished, what thread connect all of these chapters of your life, you think?
Design. I
Hmm,
truly take when it comes down to it, I personally just want to leave the world a more beautiful place. That's
yes.
real when you get down to that one thing, it's beauty. For me, it's beauty.
Mm,
I was taught in 4-H, always leave the world better than you found it. Always any surrounding you go to, improve it.
yes.
That whole, when you're camping or when you're trekking, because I love to go trekking, you know, leave no footprint. I
Mm,
it's always been that make everything better, and I've done that through designing, through, now creating this book series, and this is part of my legacy. Like,
wow.
I want little girls to know from the very beginning that they have the ability to do anything, that they should not let themselves be constrained by their
Yes.
surroundings. So,
That is so powerful. You need to say that again. And I'm going to have both my daughters watch this show. Please say
okay.
that again.
You are not restricted by what you're surrounded by.
Wow.
Brain, you have the ability, and it's all in your mindset. And there have been times when I've gone through some tough periods when, I've watched things that I've worked on
Mm,
not succeed, and not because of me, but because of circumstances beyond my control.
yes.
And it all comes down to that mindset of just not letting yourself be held back by
Mm.
what the world thinks it can push at you.
That, that is so powerful now. There's been so much progress in our history, our country, and society, but still, I feel like we are not quite where we need to be. Because even today in 2026, generally speaking, women make only what, but 80 cents on the dollar
Yeah,
on what
yeah.
comparable men do. And that doesn't make any sense to me, especially, like I say, I am the only male in my family if we don't count our pet. But it's like, I want both of my daughter to go out there, do whatever they want to do, no limit, and I want them to be treated fairly, just like any white male. Why is there a difference in 2026? That doesn't make any sense to me.
And in some ways, I think it's been going backwards lately. I don't think
Yeah.
it's moving forward the way it should be.
Mhm.
And I'm not gonna be, that feminazi that goes, "This has
Yeah.
gotta happen," because I truly
Well,
believe men are great at one thing and women are great at another thing. And, the one thing that I bring to my companies, to the girls that I work with, to anyone that, surrounds me is that I am that nurturing, "Let's
mm,
figure this out. Let's
yes.
make this happen." And you've got to have that nurturing person,
Mm-hmm.
that one who, your back, somebody's got your back.
Yes.
And that is what I am trying to do for those little 10-year-old, 12-year-old
Mm-hmm.
girls who are like, what am I supposed to be doing? Because,
Mm.
I've had parents come to me and go, my kid is in 6th grade and they're handing them pamphlets
Wow.
telling them they need to know right now this year what they're going to be when they grow up.
Mm.
And that's too much pressure for a kid who was in 6th grade.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
you need to get out there, you need to explore. And that's what the books, I'm trying to show them all these different careers, enjoy aviation, go out on a boat and see if you like to go
Yes.
sailing or be on a motorboat or, for me, go out in an RV, try
Yes.
RVs, try everything. I want to go up and hot air balloons and zeppelins. I haven't done
Wow.
either one of those yet. I go past that. I can't remember the Zeppelin. Is it Goodyear? I think it's
Mhm.
Goodyear that has
Yeah.
it. And I used to drive past that in Southern California and go, I just wish I knew somebody who could get
Wow.
me up in that. So,
That's amazing. Now, let's go back to about the time you were in 6th grade. I think it's probably influenced by
yeah.
your parents, the way you grew up, maybe your teacher, churches, or civic or organization you volunteered with. But what leadership lesson did you learn back then that still guide you today?
Say what you'll do and do what you say.
Mm,
And,
that's powerful.
being the farm girl that I am,
Yes.
I was out there working when I was 5. I was driving a tractor when I was 5, and, the guys
Wow.
are throwing the hay bales on the trailer behind. And, we had wood blocks under my feet so I could reach it because I was about this tall
Man.
until I was 21, So,
Wow.
as I was that little tiny thing up there, with this big wheel, just doing loops around, but that's how I learned how to drive. That's
Yes.
what gave me that work ethic of get out there and do it, and we'd have to say, "This is what I'm gonna go work on today," and then you'd have to do it, and
Man.
it's work ethic being shown in real time every single day, so, and that's probably one of the best leadership a
Hmm.
advice that I could give anybody.
Yes.
Let everybody know. You claim it when you say it out loud.
Wow. That is so powerful. Now, back during that age again, around 12, you did declare you wanted to become a designer, and you
Yeah.
just said that's really the thread that keeps all of your lives together, all of the accomplishments you've had in so
Right.
many industry, and you actually did it. Uh, I guess the question I have for you is, what gave you that level of confidence and determination at such a young age?
I probably attribute it most to my 4-H leaders and being in 4-H and being a farm girl, but
Mm,
yet still being a city girl too. I was kind of all over the
yes,
place, but being exposed to farm life and being exposed to city life, and then having, those strong adults in my life who,
yes,
you know, I couldn't have a temper tantrum and say, "Oh, I can't do this. Oh, I'm afraid of public speaking." I was on TV in Atlanta, Channel 5, when I was in the 6th grade,
wow,
giving a presentation. What we do in 4-H is, you give presentations. So I was chosen in 6th grade to go do this
ah,
and be on there, Saturday morning
mhm.
4-H. It was awesome. Like,
Wow,
I that gave me my first exposure to real public speaking, being in front of a camera,
hmm,
true public speaking where, you don't have a fallback plan and it's
yes,
live. So,
yes,
now
wow,
that I've done a lot, in TV and, being in front of a camera, my friends who are actors are always like, "How do you do that? How do you just like," it's like I grew up only having the
wow.
comfort of live, never had anything recorded. So like you just have to know how to roll with it
That
and
is amazing.
laugh when you mess up.
Wow, because I think for most people in America, they say they'd rather die or pay more taxes than do public speaking.
Yeah.
Wow, that is because I mean, what is really inspiring with your life now? Again, you've worked and led across design, architecture, startup, branding, motorsport, photography. Oh no, 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 no.
Yeah.
So, how has your ability to reinvent yourself through so many industry shaped your leadership philosophy?
I think it's the fact of, going from, motorsports is a very male dominated, driven,
Yes.
and being able to work and talk with,
Hmm.
men who are just very used to this has got, well, you've got to get out
Yes.
there and win, it's very, but then, going to construction, very similar.
Mm.
I grew up in a construction family. Um, Going into the architecture firm and designing, that was around the more calm group
Yes.
of people. So just being able to, and the funny thing is I have actually had bosses look at me and say, "You're the translator for us."
Mm.
I would take what, when I was the SVP for Medical Innovation Lab in Austin, I was the translator between the doctors, these extremely smart brains, and the general public. And, I was the one who kind of connected the dots between the two. So,
Wow.
just being able to take that public speaking that I started doing as a little kid and then be able to wrap in everything that I learned in each industry. So like I
Mm.
deep dive. I'm a nerd in that regards. Like
Yes.
I love to just figure out something. And so anywhere I go, when I would change, industries from, being in the construction crowd to, oh, now I'm a designer. I'm designing what I'm giving the
Hmm.
men who are building and construct. Being able to talk to them and explain. And I was the one at the
Wow.
architecture firm who always walked the plans through permitting because I could go into the fire chief and I could go into, all of the different license and I could talk them through everything and I
That's
knew
amazing.
everything in those blueprints. So
That is really, really amazing because we've talked in the green room. You once stepped away from, I guess, what we would call a conventional life and you
yeah.
travel the world. You are documenting cultures through photography. That does take a lot of courage. What did that
Yeah.
journey teach you about your identity, purpose, and leadership?
Um, it it was a great reset for me. Like, I totally hit the reset button because I did that, right after we had that big financial crash in
Yeah.
2008, and, my very first company that I started went under because of that, and I was just like,
Mm.
"I need to step back, go back to what I love, which is exploring and photography, and go out there and see how the rest of the world is doing things, handling things, and how they, it was it was incredible. It was the best reset for me, and, everybody can't do it, I understand, and
Yes.
trust me, I don't come from, a rich family, there's no silver platter. I went around the world, 5 different countries on $5,000
Wow.
because I volunteered everywhere I went. I lived in a monastery in Nepal and built
Wow.
a website for them. I was trading my ability to do what I can do for, room and board.
That's
And
amazing.
that gave me the best view of every single country that I went to because I
Mm.
wasn't going as a tourist. I was going to like really dive into the culture, really see the people, like
Wow.
really get to experience that country. And it was the best thing I've ever done for my life. And I hope that shows through in the pictures that I
Yes.
have on my website because I just, I never stopped working. Like other people were like, oh, you're on a long vacation. I'm like, no. Like,
That is amazing. Man, some of people listening right now, many of them might feel kind of trapped in their career. No, they are no longer fulfilled by it. What advice would you give someone who feels called toward reinvention, but they fear uncertainty?
you just have to jump off that cliff and build that airplane while you're falling, and
Yes.
right before you think you're gonna crash out, that airplane's gonna take flight, and you're gonna swoop
Wow.
on to your next. It's it's not easy, like, trust me, there are some nights and I have had friends just look at me and say I have a great friend who every time he talks to me, is like, "Okay, so there's gotta be a company out there that would wanna hire you."
Mm.
And I'm like, "I'm sure there might be." And that would be great. It would be awesome to have a steady paycheck, but that's not me. Like, I'm
Yeah.
trying to do something to help change the world, and it
Wow.
might nobody knows about it yet. Like, I am so unknown, like, I wish I could get, some kind of J.K. Rowling's, backing behind me. Yeah,
Mhm.
that benefactor like Da Vinci and Michelangelo had that goes, "We need more little girls to know about this." But until then, like,
Mm.
what I am doing, I love it. I don't have a plan B. I
Wow.
do not. And that's probably the best thing for anyone who goes, "Okay, it's time for me to change. I need to do a new career. I need to do something
Yes.
new. I'm, getting out of the military. It's time for me to go to, plan, the next step in my
Mhm.
life." Don't come up with A, B, C, D, and E. Come up with A
Wow.
and commit to it by, and you don't have to let the whole world know what it is you're going to do, but you need to have a sign on your wall. I
Yes.
have a sign over my bedroom door that I look at every time I go out that door. And it
Mm.
reminds me what I am doing, what I am trying to achieve with
Yes.
all of this work that I'm doing. Because, I work constantly. And when I'm not working, my brain's still working because I got about 8 of them up there going, "I gotta do
Yes.
this, gotta do that.
Wow.
You couldn't pay me for what my brain is putting out and going through. Like, I have basically created a whole media company similar to, Elf on the Shelf or
Yes.
Disney. I just don't have the money and the backing that has been able to scale it yet so that the
Mhm.
whole world knows about it yet. But it's there, it's set, it's ready. It's very scalable.
Wow.
So, like, you just have to keep believing in yourself. You're gonna make this big change, you're gonna get out of the military, you're gonna go to your next thing, and you just have to believe that you
Mm.
can do whatever it is that you've decided you're gonna do.
I really love what you say. One of my mentors used to tell me, "Right, you are not a tree. You've got legs, move." And many people are just so terrified, and I guess they feel so comfortable where they are. They know they're not fulfilled, and they need to do more, but they just don't. They're not so sure about the unknown out there. So I think it really takes. We talked about courage, but it's not just courage. I think it's faith too. Like
Oh, yeah.
where do you think that comes from for you?
When Snoop Dogg won his award and he got up there and he said, "I'd like to thank me for believing in me
Mm.
and doing what I had to do." I'm the
Wow.
same way. Like,
Yes.
I believe that I can do and I can achieve whatever I set my mind to. And I
Mm.
know some of my friends think I'm, just crazy, might be a word you would use, or, you know, but I believe I can. And
But you make
I
it look
keep
so
working at
easy, though.
it. Trust me,
That's,
there's a lot of hard work. There's a lot. I study all the time. And that's one of the things too, that helps me advance as fast and as quickly as I do. I work 80 hours a week. I am always studying. I
wow.
rarely will sit around and just watch TV. I'm always reading a book when I'm,
Yes.
having downtime. And
Wow.
that's what it takes to do this. Like, you have to commit to yourself and you have to commit to what you're trying to achieve.
Mm.
So, you just can't,
Yes.
and granted, you've gotta have downtime. Like, I have finally, for the first time in 10 years, started scheduling 2 days off a week,
Wow.
because for the longest time, it was no days off a week. Then it got down to, I have to take 1 day a week. And now I'm finally to the point where it's like, I've gotta have my 2 days a week because I've got to
Yes.
have fun in order to, and relaxation in order to
Mhm.
keep stimulating my brain and my spirit to move
Wow.
forward. You can't just be a machine. Like,
Yes.
I would love to be at the Elon Musk level of being able to do things the way he does it. Not there yet. I would love to meet him and just shadow him for a day
Yes.
just to watch how he does it all, because I would just love to collect that data and just, like,
Hmm.
experience that.
Well, somebody watching now might be connected to Elon Musk. I call him my African American brother from another mother. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty uh, amazing what one person can
Yes.
do. Now, as
Yeah.
someone who has often been the only woman in the room, how did you develop that resilience and confidence in male-dominated industry?
I Once again, I love to study things, and I realized that I had to know everything. I had to learn as much as I could about whatever the subject matter was. I had to get out there and, get in the trenches, do that work. so that the men around me would realize that I was serious, that I wasn't just a
Mm,
little, fluff bunny in there,
yes.
to smile and giggle. I was there to show up and get the work done. And
Wow.
I realized how much they did appreciate me and like me and love me when, we would go skeet shooting and, we would do all these different competitions together. And I, again, would be the only woman there hanging out with all these guys, you
Hmm.
know, on the range hunting or shooting or whatever. And at one point, one of my favorite guys handed me a pocket knife that was signed by Chuck Buck.
Wow.
And I was like, "Okay, I've made it into the club. These guys
Yes.
get me now." So,
Wow. That is really amazing. Wow. Let me ask you this. Was there maybe a moment when you almost gave up?
yeah, there've been a couple of times. It's when and it's, like the circumstances beyond your control, like the financial crash of 2008
Yes.
and then COVID, and it's like every time I've almost got in there, and it's like, "Okay, I'm finally gonna be able to breathe." And then one of these beyond your control thing happens, and, both times I was like, "Am I on the right path? Am I doing the right thing? Should I just go, get a 9 to 5 job?"
Mm,
And then, I'll talk to different people and, I have a friend who lives in the Netherlands, and we both just kind of, we'll get on this call together and go, "Yeah, we couldn't do the 9 to 5. Like, that's just not me." So, every time I have those moments where, like, "Okay, I'm down. This isn't
mm,
working the way I thought it would," I always go back, and it's one of the, downloads that's on the website for little kids to use, but
yes.
I do a briefing report, and I'll look at what the problem is, and I come up with my
Mm,
pros and my cons, and then come up with a final description of, like, this is what's gotta happen. And so, like, I'm taking truly
yes.
what I use to help keep me on my path and
Mm,
developing it into worksheets for the kids to use so that they have these tools at a much younger age so they can start to do these things and develop this knowledge and be able to use it throughout their life, not just
wow.
when you reach your 40s and your 50s and you go, "Okay, now I want them to
Yes.
start young. I want them to start in their teens and go, "Okay, I've hit a problem. I'm going to not sit here and internalize it and stress out over it. I'm gonna write it down. I'm gonna get it out of my head. And I'm gonna figure out how to make it move forward."
Yes. Wow. That is just amazing. I guess we are so glad you haven't given up because Athenian, which is what you've built, I think is truly changing lives. Right? You are really building the future leaders of America, especially in STEM, but confidence and really making a real impact. What was the defining moment for you that inspired you to create Athenian and books that build skills?
It actually happened on April the 17th, 2019. I think I woke up like having one of those lightning strike kind of moments where I had
Mm,
spent a lot of time around my friends who are in motorsports and realizing that, so few of us women are there in that industry. And then it's kind of looking at the way that kids were detaching from doing physical work, from, like, really truly learning how to do things, learning how to drive. Like, I love driving fun cars fast,
mhm,
and I compete against myself. So, I do a lot of the SCCA autocrossing, and for me, it's teaching myself how to be better behind the wheel. And so, I took, past experiences from my life of me becoming, this go-getter woman. I was like, we need to turn this into a modern day version of these other clubs that are out there for girls that
mhm,
haven't truly modernized yet. And they're not taking, I I love technology, I love computers, I love, downtime and being in nature. Take all of these things that are now,
mm,
happening in 2020 and turn it into a modern, new, fresh outlook for
mm,
little girls so that they really truly, because you see so many right now, so many parents, the kids are going back and going, "The '80s were great." And I
yeah.
know they were because I grew up in them, okay? I am a Gen Xer, like, all of
Yes.
those comedians right now that are making jokes about It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your kids are? I was one of those kids.
Yes.
So like,
Wow.
I think the kids and the parents really truly want to get back to, let's do this, the old way, the analog
Mhm.
way. Let's go some old school on a few things and
Yes.
then bring in, new technology and learn how to truly, truly, you know, develop a great system that combines the two of them.
Yes.
Don't lean so heavily on the screens and babysitting your kids that way.
Mhm.
Get your kids out there digging around in the dirt, building a
Mhm.
garden. A garden is one of the best things in the world for a little kid to do because it teaches
Mm.
them responsibility. Because they
Yes.
don't water those plants, if they don't tend to them, they die. And
Yes.
that is, much
Mm.
better to do it with a plant than a pet. Okay.
True, true. There's not
Yeah.
how many goldfish we had to buy when my daughters were smaller. But yes, you
Yeah.
you are so right. And something important you've said is girls often don't realize how many career opportunities truly
Yeah.
exist in STEM, transportation, engineering, and motorsport. I remember, I think it was in 2014, I moved to the Bay Area, and there was an ad campaign, and they made the fatal mistake of having a woman as a software engineer, and most of the male engineer at my work, they just flipped out. And I'm like, why? I mean, of course a woman can be an engineer. Hello, this was like in 2014. But
Yeah.
anyway, I guess the
Yeah.
question I have for you is, why do you think exposure matters so much even today?
The girls need to see a female figure so that they can follow in their footsteps, emulate what they see of, that
Yes.
astronaut, that engineer, automotive engineer. I've interviewed one of the most fun automotive engineers. She's
Hmm.
now the assistant chief engineer at
Wow.
Lucid Motors. And Esther is incredible. She is such
Yes.
a great role
Mm.
model. And one of the great best stories she tells is how she French braided copper wiring to protect this one
Wow.
item on their race car that they did for SAE when she was in college. And that's a little girl there coming out
Mhm.
and going, French braid this. None of the boys would have known how to do that. But,
Yes.
there's these different things, and
Wow.
that again, all of us have all of these different things that we're really great at. And when we can learn how to highlight that amongst a whole team
Mm.
and collaborate together, that is when you are super powerful. But
Yes.
little girls need to see that because everybody's in this little bubble. I live in Birmingham now. That's a little bubble. It's a small town compared to when I lived in, San Diego or San
Mhm.
Francisco or Atlanta. And most kids never get out of that bubble of their neighborhood, their family,
Yes.
their little enclave where they live. And so they're only used to, okay, my mom drives a minivan and my dad drives an
Mm.
F-150, and maybe he works
Yes.
at, I can't think of anything good right now. He works at, the engineering company, around here. And my mom's a teacher, and that's the only thing that they grow up
Yes.
knowing and understanding. And so they go, okay, well, maybe I should be a teacher. And they
Mm.
don't think, oh, I really love to take things apart and figure them out. The toaster broke, so mom gave it
Yes.
to me so I can take it apart. Oh, maybe I should be, an engineer. Maybe I should
Mhm.
look at, how boats work and, get into,
Yes.
designing and engineering boats or maybe airplanes.
Mhm.
And
Wow.
I love being up in the sky, so, give me an airplane, a helicopter, I don't know, a parachute. I've jumped out of plenty of perfectly good airplanes, but,
Wow.
like, you know, get kids around something new and different that they've never experienced and watch them
That's
light
powerful.
up, and then look at, the people there and go, "Okay, she likes to do this, this, and this. How does that translate to, what you do, what your job
Mhm.
is?" And start having more of that dialogue and more of those questions so these little girls, little boys too, can
Yeah.
look at something, because there's so many ways you can take your passion and what you're good at
Mhm.
and develop a career path from that. And that's what I try to
Wow.
show the kids in the books all the time. Addie,
Yes.
volunteers to fix her neighbor's Mr. Collins lawnmower for him so that she
Mhm.
can mow his lawn. So not
Yes.
only is she, out there wrenching and he's helping her, and so she's learning how to, play around with the lawnmower and fix it. But
Mhm.
then she does that chore of cutting his grass so that he doesn't have to, because, he's,
Yeah,
she thinks of him as her adopted grandfather. So, it's showing that
mm,
responsibility of being a teenager who cares about her adopted grandfather, but also
yes,
learning how to wrench on something. And that's so important,
that's
just,
powerful. Wow.
yeah. So,
Man, because another thing I really admire about your program is, you don't just teach academics, right? But
yeah.
your programs also teach confidence, communication, leadership, and life skills. Like we took the example of Attie. Why are those skills equally important to just academics?
You can learn how to do anything. I I never learned how to work on my F-150 until I was in my 50s.
Wow.
I never would have thought I would have ever changed out a transmission in my truck. The one thing I do have is that curiosity, that ability. I have just mastered all these variety of life skills, and because of that, I can then take on any task and learn how to do it really well, really quickly.
Mm, spa-
So, as long as you've got this great base of just knowing different life skills, you can take any knowledge and layer it on top of it. If somebody came to me tomorrow and said, "I need for you to be a rocket scientist within the next 3 years," I would say, "Give me the books, I will figure it out." They said, "I need for you to become a
wow.
doctor." I would kind of, like, push back on that one, 'cause I don't like seeing blood and guts, but
Mhm.
I am the one person that triages and takes care of people when a disaster happens, so
Yes.
I can handle it, but it's because I
Mm,
have that basic, just solid foundation of life skills that I've
yes.
been able to go out there and, just do all, and
Mm,
that's what I think is important in moving forward into the future. We
yes.
don't know what kind of jobs are gonna be available for our 12-year-olds 20 years from now when they're out there in the market and they're out there working. We don't know what those jobs are gonna be, because we've
Yes.
watched how much the world has advanced since the iPhone came out. That was,
Mhm.
a
Yeah.
little less than 20 years ago.
True.
20 years from now, with all of the advances in AI and everything we see happening in technology right now, we have no clue what
Mm,
our kids are really truly gonna need to know. So, getting those basic life skills and work ethic and
yes.
communication is key,
Yes.
built into these little brains is gonna change their ability to just look at
Mm.
anything and adapt and move quickly.
Yeah, talking about better preparing young people for the future,
Yeah,
how do we do that for a future that is now shaped by artificial intelligence,
yeah.
automation, and constant disruption?
I think parents need to set some guardrails on screen time, technology, even computers. I mean,
Yes.
granted, I couldn't work without my computer. I'm in front of it usually 10 hours a day. But you've gotta have that off time where you're out there getting your hands dirty, you're exercising, you're doing a variety of things, so you're not totally focused on just the computer and the AI and the tech, because your brain has to be able, for one thing, your brain needs to still develop. And that is one thing that has really become an issue with smartphones and laptops now, is that instead of children's brains developing by the time they were 18, 19, it's now 28 or 29. So
Mm,
add another 10 years to brain development. And that's why, some parents might get frustrated with their 15-year-old not
mhm.
truly, getting everything or understanding time management or
Yes.
knowing how to, just when I was 15, I was basically a chef and making great meals for everybody. Some kids still don't know how to put a peanut butter jelly sandwich together.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
you have to look at, you know, putting the guardrails up on the technology so their brain can do that natural development
Mm.
that it needs to do.
That is so true. So, what gives you hope about the next generation?
The fact that I can see the curiosity coming back in the younger ones, and luckily a lot of them have that ability to, talk to an adult and not be scared. I
Mm,
know there's been a time when basically people just didn't want to have that eye contact and communication with each other. But I think there are, and I'm going to give props to the homeschooling parents for this.
Yes.
I think they are taking the initiative to really get their kids back to the basics again
Mm,
and, get back to etiquette, get back to communication, get back to, we've got to look at everything as a group, as, we are in the United States of America. We're in one of the
yes.
best countries in the world. We need to be there for each other and collaborate together. So we've got to come
Yes.
together and communicate well and work well
Mm,
together. So I'm starting to see more parents take, and it helps that I'm back in the South. So I'm
yes.
kind of back around my roots again. And I'm really seeing that strong Southern spirit come out. And I
Mhm.
love that.
Yes, yes. Wow. Let's talk about Addie's amazing adventures.
Okay.
The Charms universe. Uh,
Ta-da.
I want to spend some time talking about the incredible world you have created through Addie's. Yeah, here we go. All of us. I think I counted. You have, is it five different books, right? Do you have more now? Is that
I have
seven?
7 books.
Seven. Wow,
Yes,
that is
and
amazing.
then the fun one, the Inventor Notebook,
Yes,
and this is where they get to write down their big ideas, and then
that's
timestamp
amazing.
it so that
Wow.
this is what I love too. There's graph paper on one side, and then there's ruled on the other.
That's really, really amazing. I think it's really
Yeah,
much bigger than just a children's fiction, right? This is really leadership
yeah.
development through storytelling. So I guess the question I have for you is tell us about Addie's McAllister. Who is she and why did you create her character?
So, Addie McAllister is, and I realized this after an interview, a couple of months ago, she's probably the younger version of me. I didn't really realize that as I was writing the book, but I wanted
Ah,
to be able to talk to kids on their level, and I
mm,
knew that I needed to have that signature teenager. And I kind of brought in, and this I love weaving in history and bringing in different
yes.
details and Easter eggs and that kind of thing. But Addie is named Addie because of Athena, and Athena
Hmm,
is my company, Athenian. So I
yeah.
wanted to be able to have, the Athenian spokesgirl, and for her to be
Wow.
able to talk to others easily and just kind of, get them involved in the story. And so it's truly Addie is, the young spokesperson for Athenian. She's the one here
Mm,
to like talk to young girls and help get them on the right path.
yes. Talking about Addie, why was it important for you to create such a strong, intelligent, curious young female protagonist in STEM?
Because our girls need to see something other than the Kardashians.
Yes.
And I am very anti-Kardashian. I am more like Mike. I tell everybody this. I am like the female version of Mike Rowe. You give me a
Yes.
dirty job, I'm gonna jump in there and do it and have fun and laugh a whole lot. And
Yes.
the little girls need to see they don't have enough women out there who are just
Mm,
willing to go do the most insanely fun, silly, stupid stuff, and I do
yes.
that, and I do we've taken a BMW and turned it into a driving simulator,
Wow.
like a true car and turned it into a driving simulator. I took, a couple of old bikes and converted them and added electricity to it, and now have this awesome e-bike
Wow.
that looks like something Ralph Lauren would have created and named it Poppins. She's
Yes.
beautiful. But they don't have enough of these women, and
Mhm.
I love to say I'm like the favorite auntie because I'm gonna be the one out there challenging them and, talking to them about the things that they
Yes.
don't wanna talk to their parents about. But,
Mhm.
the trusted adult that you have that's gonna just look at something and go, "Okay, let's break this down and make this easy so you can tackle it."
Wow. That is really awesome because your books they do combine, not just adventure but mystery, leadership,
Yeah.
engineering, aviation, and life skill. It's just mind blowing. Why was that combination important to you?
Because with all of the layers that I have woven into it, it's important for them to see, like part of the story is this is multi-generational. So it's
Yes.
not just this one little girl, it's not a babysitter's club where they're just out there running. There's not
Hmm.
enough, modern Nancy Drew type stories to really engage the girls. And they need to see now, multi generations together, the favorite Aunt Loxley who's in the story, who
Yes.
has, eventually has Jackson, the kind
Amazing.
of international man of mystery out there,
Yes.
Joker having fun with the girl. There's all these layers to the story,
Hmm.
the fact that,
It's
about
amazing.
book number 3, everybody finds out that Ray is Jackson's niece. All these different little things come out, and you find out she didn't want to tell the kids because her parents had died. She didn't want anybody to feel sorry for her. She wanted everybody to look at her and go, you know, you're a girl. And, all these different things that kids are having to face and talk about right now, and they don't have that person to talk to about it. I try to put it into the story so
That's
they
amazing.
can read about it. And then they go, oh, okay. So I'm not the only one whose parents have died. I shouldn't look at
Yes.
that as, I need to hide it.
Hmm.
There's people out there who are going to love me and support me. So,
Yes.
and
That's powerful.
I'll admit that I read my books sometimes and tear up. So I
Wow.
hope I'm doing a good job.
Well, for the people who are watching now, we might have people connected to Hollywood. I know Netflix is here in the Bay Area. I feel like this should be like the next blockbuster Netflix series. If we were to
I
turn this,
wish.
you don't want to? No.
No, I do. I
Okay. Good. Good.
wish. I
Good. Good.
wish so
Good.
much.
Who would you like to play Addie? You think which actress out there you feel like would be a great person to
Oh,
play?
that's a hard one because I
Yeah.
don't watch enough of the little kid shows,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is funny. Like I read everything. I read I read children's books for 2-year-olds. I
Yes.
read young adult, which
Wow.
parents do not let your kids read young adult unless they're over the age of 18. Because I had my books were miscategorized for the first 9 months because I had
Really?
them categorized as young adult, thinking, the way everybody
Yes.
now says young adult, and
Hmm.
they think they mean 12, and what they really should mean is 20. Yeah,
Yes.
so I had to recently change it to juvenile fiction. It's middle grade
Wow.
fiction
Wow.
because it's for that,
Yes.
the 6th to ninth grade,
Yes.
that those middle years where you're trying to figure things out. So
Absolutely, because that's also really when I remember like my kids were very impressionable. So that's really the right age to
yes,
get them to love STEM.
yes.
Because if you miss that opportunity, it looks like they will never get back to it, right?
Exactly, and
Most,
I don't want kids to miss these are the good fun years.
yes,
Oh
yes.
my god,
Uh,
I love being around that age range because they're
yes.
smart. Now they're reading to learn. They're
Mm.
not so sassy and so, I'm
Yeah,
too
yeah.
cool for school. I'm not gonna talk to you because you
Sure.
think you're a smart adult. Like,
Yes.
they are these little sponges, and they just wanna absorb
Mm.
as much as they can. And so I've made these books so they're clean,
Yes.
very clean, so parents don't have to worry about that. They There's clues, there's Easter eggs, there's a code.
Wow.
So once you really start the book series on book 2 is where the story starts and goes to book
Okay.
7 right now.
Talking about the book series, let's walk through the evolution of it. So in book one, Rocket City Love, what
Okay.
foundational theme were you introducing in Addie's first adventure?
So this is where you're really getting to know Attie and the family, the fact that they've moved. So there's that new girl in school
Mm-hmm.
that you're working through. Very communication based, but also career exploration. So those are the 3 topics covered in this book
All right. Oh,
because
that's really amazing. What about book two, TikTok Take Charge? The title
this
alone
is
sounds like a leadership oriented book, does it?
time management, and adults should read this book too. And the book series is like the movie Shrek. You know
Mm-hmm.
how we adults can watch Shrek and we go at
Yeah.
certain parts and the kid just goes,
Yeah.
there's a lot of that in these books too. This is all about time management and learning how to really truly wrap your brain around how to truly manage your time. And there's 3 worksheets to download with it too. So
Wow.
adults might want those too.
Book three, Where Clues Take Root.
So this is project management. So showing how to like truly break down what you're working on and
Mm.
actually teach kids about a Gantt chart, which is funny because I was on another interview and the host said, I just learned about Gantt charts last year and I'm in my 40s. I'm like,
Wow.
I am trying to get the little kids to understand what a Gantt chart is and how that
Yes.
really can help you with your life instead of feeling overwhelmed about things. So this is
That's
project
powerful.
management.
All right. Book four, Blueprints and Buried Truths.
code breaking. And there is a code that goes throughout the entire book. So 2 through 7, you've got to figure out where that code is. And there's a whole, you'll find out what you're looking for at the end of book 7 if you found the code. So.
All right. So the next book, book 5, Calculated Risk. I think to me that's probably one of my favorite because my shipmate and Commander Julie Vida wrote the forward for that one. So
Julie is awesome. I love Julie. She wrote the foreword for the book. She is like that true role model that every kid should have the pleasure of meeting Julie because she will light you up. And the stories that she tells, it's amazing. And the funny thing is, I asked her to do this before I came up with the title, or I would right around the same time. And I could not have picked a better title for her to be in this book. And this is all about, this is showing the risk that we all have to take. Jackson's going through something he's got to figure out. Mom is going through something she's got to figure out. There's a lot of travel planning in this book. So that's, the worksheet that comes with it where you learn how to plan your travel. But there's a reason that the story revolves around Jackson as to why they're working on the travel planning. So, yeah.
Okay, book 6, The Gravity of Choice.
So this one is about business pitching. And so Attie and her friends are working on this big project with an aerospace company, and she is pitching CEOs on an idea. So this really helps show kids how to have that idea, how to be able to talk to adults about that idea. So that's the worksheet that goes with this one is, how to come up with a business pitch. And it might not even be a business pitch. It might be, your teenager wants to go on some type of vacation. Maybe they want to get something for the house.
Yes.
Okay. Download that worksheet and say, pitch me on whatever it is you want to do.
This is really amazing because for many of us, we don't really get to do those things until after we go to college. Like you mentioned the Gantt chart earlier, pitching for a business. Many people don't only learn about that in business school. So it's really amazing how you're able to bring those skills to little kids like 10, 11, 12 years old, and they can already familiarize themselves with it. That's amazing.
The best thing about that too is that it teaches negotiation.
Yeah.
And so when you learn negotiation well, and I know there's going to be parents who are going to be like, please don't teach my kid how to negotiate a new pair of Nikes with me. But to be able to do that, and then, when you go to college, being able to negotiate and, get better classes, get a better place to live, get a better salary when you start your first job.
Yes.
We all need to learn these things.
And finally, book 7, Legacy Protocol.
Life planning, because you need to start at a young age. And I was that one at 16 who wrote down my, this is what I want to get done in this world.
Yes.
Kind of, anthem of myself. And it takes that, sitting down and planning out your life and the steps you want to take. So that's book 7. Book 8 drops in June, and we're going to be in a new country. So I'm so excited.
Man, this is really, Netflix, if you are listening, this is a great opportunity for a blockbuster series. Wow.
Absolutely.
That is amazing.
Netflix,
adventure.
call me. Let's talk.
No, but when you talk about legacy for book 7, that's something I do speak often about in leadership, because even for me, when I started this podcast about five years ago, I think for a lot of people, initially in their career, they really want to think about success for themselves and all of that. But again, there's nothing wrong with it. But at a certain point, I think you need to start thinking about significance, what's going to happen, because eventually you are going to retire. You won't have that job for forever. So what does legacy means to you personally?
Passing along the beauty of what we can do and what we can become.
Yes.
And I really want for our younger generation to start, going back to the root of it all. What am I capable of creating? How am I going to be able to do something great in this world?
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be Elon Musk. He's one of a kind. He is awesome. But each one of us also has the ability in our small little part of the world
Yes.
of creating good change, whether it's, becoming a master gardener and, creating beautiful nature spots around your town,
Yes.
or whether it's
Mhm.
creating, some new type of device that, helps with the medical breakthrough.
Yes.
There's all of these different things that each one of us is capable of doing, and that's gonna be your
Mhm.
legacy. That's gonna be your way of passing it along, and it might be like a Van Gogh, and it doesn't become known and out there in the world until after your death, but if you're
Yes.
working every single day on doing something great for this world, the
Mm.
world will find out about it.
That is really really powerful. I can't believe we are already out of time. But let me ask you, how can my listener add value back to you?
So right now, being the nonprofit that we are, I've got programs set for the summer. I don't have the funding to provide the programs. So anyone who is listening who could help get your company behind what we're doing here, we really truly need that. And for those who are listening who want to get these books into your local libraries, our company puts together book kits. It's like a book club in a box. I would love to see those in every library
Mhm.
possible across the United States. This is a great way for, when they're in libraries, they're free for everybody to use.
Yes.
So the teachers could use them, different clubs could use them, churches, all the different organizations could, check out the book club in a box for a month and get 50 of their kids involved in, learning about Addie's amazing adventures.
Hmm.
And as you've seen from, talking through the 7 different books, there's
Yes.
worksheets to go along with each one of them. So there's
And
so
book
much.
eight, book eight is coming.
Yes,
Yeah,
book 8 through 13 will be here by the end of this year.
that's
I do
amazing.
I write 6 books a year. So yeah, I stay busy. But it's so important for me to take what I'm hearing from the parents and from the kids
Yes.
and put it into a story format that really reaches all of the kids that are out there. And
Mm.
so if you do work with a company, if you do have, a small business that would support us, please step up and help because we really need to, get more advertising dollars out there so that
Yes.
does get in front of more parents. For me, it's really important to get in front of as many parents as possible. And
Yes.
if you can't make a financial donation, I could use any help that anyone could provide as a volunteer social squad um, helper, just
Yes.
helping to spread the word on social media. So there's a lot of ways that people can get involved, whether it's bringing your company in, whether you want to get involved, whether you want to volunteer as a social squad member.
Mm.
We just need the help really getting people to become aware of what we're doing so that the parents
Yes.
really truly get behind this. I kind of say that we're like Elf on the Shelf in a modern scholastic. We just need
Mhm.
that help getting it out there to the parents so that they understand what Addie is all about.
Yeah, you are definitely doing God's work out there, and you need all of the funding possible. Again, that's some books that build skills.org, and we just have to go to the donate
Yeah,
box.
yeah.
Now, we are coming toward the end of the podcast. This very question I should have asked you, Loxley, I didn't get a chance to ask. Anything else you wanted to share?
Oh, one more thing to share.
Please.
We have a summer reading contest that started this month. It's going to go until August the 31st. It includes all of the first 7 books and then the
Mm.
3 that'll come out this summer. But it is a contest for kids to get involved, to read the books. They have to register that they've read the books. And the VIP winner, the one who's read all 10 books, who's registered that, we're going to choose one out of the many who submit, and that winner is going to get to go on a discovery flight.
Wow,
So,
that is
yeah.
amazing. Amazing. If it's okay, technically we are out of time. Can you give me 5 more minutes before we
Oh
close?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Let's let's do this. I'm going to ask you rapid fire questions. I'm going to answer really quickly. Don't
Okay.
take too long to think. Okay. All right. What is your favorite leadership book? Not your own.
Okay. I'm not sure you call this a leadership book, but everything Harville Hendricks
Yeah.
writes is about love. And
Yes.
to be a great leader, you need to give and get love.
Yes.
Read everything Harville Hendricks writes.
Yeah. Throughout my entire life, I really felt like if I had to define leadership with one word, it would be influence. But more lately, it's more like love, because as a leader,
Yeah.
you really do have to love your people in order to be effective, I think.
And to love your people, you first have to have a deep love of yourself. That
Yeah.
is the best way to be the leader, is
That's
to
right.
have an incredible self-love. So
Yes.
yes, everybody go read those books. I think they're awesome.
So true. And I come from the scripture too, right? Love your neighbor as you love
Yeah.
yourself. Powerful, powerful. Okay. Favorite place you have traveled?
Nepal.
Wow.
Love Nepal. Love it.
A mentor or influence who shaped your life?
My 4-H leader, Susan Stewart.
Wow. One word that defines great leadership. I think I know what that is. One word for leadership.
One word. Oh, freedom.
Freedom. Okay. One skill every young person should learn before age 18.
How to cook a great meal.
That's so true. My mother was so concerned with me. I was about 15. I didn't know how to cook or do anything. She's like, "You're gonna be going to America all by yourself. You've got to learn how to do this thing." So it became a special project for me. But, okay, a failure that became a blessing.
My divorce.
Wow.
Yeah,
And
it taught me a lot.
What are you most grateful for right now?
Being able to write great books.
And what is a morning routine or practice that keeps you grounded?
Yoga and stretching.
A book or a quote that changed your life?
Basically anything Teddy Roosevelt said. I thought he
Yes.
was a great leader.
Absolutely.
And Mark Twain. Mark Twain's
Yes.
got some great ones.
Yes, I guess I would add probably Winston Churchill to that.
Yes.
list. It's
Yes.
pretty amazing. to read on
Especially his
that.
never,
Never,
ever,
ever.
ever give up.
That's so
Yeah.
powerful. So, a leadership habit you refuse to compromise on.
What?
A leadership habit you refuse to compromise on. You're gonna do no matter what.
Communication.
And what is a question every leader should ask themselves frequently?
How am I doing?
Okay. Now, to end, what did you want to be when you were a kid? I think you mentioned that earlier.
The first thing I wanted to be was a jockey.
Really?
But I was too big. Yeah, I grew up on a horse farm.
Wow.
Then I wanted to be a supermodel. And I was too short.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, because I thought you wanted to be a designer.
Oh yeah, I've always wanted to be a designer.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
that shows up in everything you have done, all of the.
It shows up in everything I've done. But I really truly, when I was like a little kid, wanted to be a jockey. I wanted to be out there on the Kentucky Derby. And
That's
I've met some jockeys, and I thought I was tiny, but man, they're super tiny. I mean, I'm 5'5". Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
I was too big.
3 adjective describing you as a child.
Goofy,
2 more.
bookworm, and a little bit silly. Well, I
Okay,
think
what-
goofy and silly is the same. A go-getter.
Okay. What about as an adult?
Complete nerd. Still goofy, like to crack jokes. And I love nature time. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Before I ask you the last two, let me ask you this: if you had the ear of every parent listening right now, what would you tell them in the next 60 seconds?
Please go out there and take a look at the books. Buy them for yourself and read them,
Yes.
and give them to your daughter.
That's
I think
powerful.
the thing that would fill
Your
my
son
heart,
also, your sons also, but yes, your daughters.
books that build skills. Go out there and buy
Yes.
all 7 books right now. Take a look at them, read them, give them to your daughter. And my hope is that in 20 years, she's still buying whatever new book is coming out and
Mhm.
has saved all of these for her daughter.
That is powerful. Now, if you could go back and give a piece of advice to your 17-year-old self, what would you say to 17-year-old Loxley?
There's a lot of things I would say. The main thing would be to focus. Stay focused. Don't let distractions pop up, and stay true to your goals.
That's powerful, powerful. Okay. All good things do have to end. We need to land this plan. One question I love to ask, especially with everything going on in the economy, American world today, I want to be optimistic. What is one thing you are feeling optimistic about these days?
The happiness level that I see returning in everyone.
Yes.
There's so much more good happening now than there has been in the past couple of years. I
Yes.
just am very happy to
That's beautiful.
see there's a new glow, and it's happiness.
All right. So before I end the show, I have one last question. Anything else you wanted to share on the show today?
Just go out there and join the summer reading contest. I want to see as many kids in the summer reading contest
Yes.
as we can reach. So, and share
It's
that, parents,
powerful. And again,
grandparents,
that
aunties.
buildskills.org is where they can go to find more
Yeah.
information.
And you'll find everything at booksthatbuildskills.org.
So I'm
And
asking
thank
all
you.
of my millionaire friends in Silicon Valley, and Loxley is one of her. She's lived here twice. So let's support her. Go to Books That Build Skills and donate. No, for many of them, $1,000 or $10,000 is absolutely nothing. Please do it. Do it now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So what is one word that represents our shared experience on this podcast today, Loxley? One word.
This has been fun.
All right.
I
Yeah.
had so much fun reading over your list of questions, and I was just
Perfect.
dreaming up all kinds of stuff. Like we could talk all afternoon.
Yes,
Nobody
we
wants to
can.
listen to that, but we could.
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely could. And I believe you are definitely doing God's work, and the work you're doing is so important, impacting the next generation of leaders, not only in science and technology, but I think some of them probably in the military too. So thank you so much for all you
Yes.
do, and anything we can do to support you, we definitely want to do that. Thanks again for being one of our
Thank
master
you.
teachers today, Lexi. Really appreciate that.
Thank you, everybody. I hope
Bye.
to see you soon.
Yes. All right, everybody. So please follow Loxley on LinkedIn, and more importantly, get every copy of her book. So that's 7 books now, and books 8 is coming, and she says she's going to have 8 through 12, 13 by the end of the year. So let's support her for sure. And this has already been a great honor and privilege for me to speak with Leslie, now from Birmingham, Alabama. I spent about 15 years of my life in Tuscaloosa, so knows that area pretty well, and just so proud of what she's able to accomplish. And those also listening, connected to Netflix, to Hollywood, I think it's going to be a blockbuster series for sure. All right. So that's it for now. I will have one more interview today. Let me see if I can find them. Yeah, it is coming up 2:00 my time. So that's going to be what? 5 p.m. on the East Coast. We're going to be talking to Lieutenant Colonel Glenn Axelrod. He's quite special, not only a retired colonel from the Army, but he is also an actor, a model, and really I would say a Renaissance man, right? We're going to be talking about for those called to lead, listen from war, from cyber, but from life as well. He's also a cyber security executive like myself. So it's just incredible how much impact he's having with his one life. So hopefully I can see you live on the on LinkedIn and YouTube, 2 p.m. Pacific time and 5 p.m. Eastern time today. All right, that's all I have for you. Thanks again for watching, and bye for now.
Thank you for tuning in to the Leadership and Success Podcast with your host, Coach BZ. If today's episode added value to your leadership journey, be sure to subscribe, share, and join us again for more wisdom nuggets on how to lead better and achieve greater success. Remember, leadership is the most critical skill of our time. The world will always need leaders to inspire others, drive innovation, and execute meaningful strategy. So why not count yourself among the bold leaders shaping the 21st century? Until next time, stay inspired, stay committed, and keep leading with excellence.